Hello everyone and welcome to Zodiac Astrology. I'm continuing my series on the Nakshatra videos, and I'd like you to join me on this journey to take you over the sea of life. In the Vedic Hindu system of astrology, known in Sanskrit as Jyotish, the 27 constellations are not the 12 star signs of the zodiac, are the key to understanding celestial influences on our planet and on our person. These 27 constellations are known as the 27 nakshatras or stars, spanning 13 degrees 20 minutes each, and they are further divided into 4 padas of 3 degrees and 20 minutes. Jump in and journey with me on this Vedic astrology for the Nakshatra series. When we take a deeper look into the nakshatras, or the division of the sky into the signs, the rashis, the nakshatras, the stars and the padas, this is what we see. The zodiac sky is divided into 12 signs, starting from Aries and ending with Pisces. And each of these zodiac or rashi signs are divided into nakshatras, which are further divided into padas, and each rasi or sign has 9 padas and can therefore have 3 nakshatras in each rashi. The nakshatras represent the abodes into which the fruits of our labor, or as we say, our karma, is transferred and stored. The nakshatras then dispense the fruits of this karma depending on the placement of our grahas or planets and the bhavas or houses which are assigned to each of the rasis. Based on a person's moon nakshatra at the time of birth, Jyotish offers a more powerful or predictive technique compared to other forms of astrology. And we can see the details garnered here from the zodiac into the nakshatras, which are the stars, and the padas of the nakshatras, which are the dharma, artha, karma and moksha. The 12 zodiac signs equates to 360 degrees. One zodiac sign or rashi equates to 30 degrees. One nakshatra measures 13 degrees 20 minutes, and one pada equates to 3 degrees 20 minutes. And this is what Vedic astrology uses as its analytical tool, its basic analytical tool to guide you over the sea of life. I urge you again to join me on this journey over the sea of life. Jump in and journey with me. Today we are dealing with Magha Nakshatra, and this nakshatra dwells in the sign of Leo, the natural 5th house of the Kala Purush. And Magha is symbolized as the throne room of the ancestors and is greatly associated with the past. So Magha is really concerned with honoring those who have come before us, our ancestors, our pitris, and leaving a legacy behind, especially through having children, is a great motivation for persons who are born in Magha, in Leo. And Magha is found in the first section of Leo, and it represents a more intuitive and reflective type of personality, as opposed to the usual stereotype of Leo, which is authoritarian and egocentric. And Magha has a tendency to move inward and to reflect on the past and what came before and who was there before, rather than the present. And planets in Magha can sometimes demand respect and appreciation, and it have that kind of bow before the king kind of attitude. I am lord of all I survey, or I am master of all I survey. And this can be one of the negative issues that come through from Magha, in that we think about power and ego, and that leadership skill is lost in terms of our egos and what we want to express rather than what we want to do. And This is why the Pitris, or the divine ancestors, are the rulers of Magha. And the symbol is this throne, you know, where you have been there, done that, you have reached the pinnacle of everything, you have gained success, you now have the laurel wreath there on the throne, the lions there on the throne, showing that you are the leader and you are the boss. So the symbol for Magha Nakshatra is this throne room, which we see in Vedic astrology. The Pitris are the deities associated with the Magha Nakshatra, or the star of power, as we see. It's a Rakshasa race, and in popular Hinduism, the Pitris are often worshipped as the ancestors. They are our celestial lineage and great teachers that have brought us through eons of time, not just our family in this lifetime. When planets are in Magha, or when someone has the moon in Magha or ascendant, their family, their lineage, and their heritage becomes important to them. You know, this is what they like to focus on. This is probably their dharma. And even if you are one who do not live under the thumb of your family, or who are not concentrated in your family, the succession of your own progeny and your own children are all important. And you know that succession comes through your lineage, through your children. So it is good to honor your family and to take a seat on the throne of power when planets are there. But also remember that our true power comes from the celestial nature and the Pitris, the divine ancestors. So that don't let your ego really overcome your spiritual and divine nature. Let your spiritual nature shine. Let your spiritual nature sit on that throne, that symbol of the Magha Nakshatra. Ancestors also serve as mediators by providing access to spiritual guidance and power. Death of an ancestor is not a sufficient condition for becoming an ancestor or a Pitri. Only those who lived a full measure of life, who cultivated moral values and achieved social distinction, attain the status or the status of the Pitri. So not because you are dead and you have become an ancestor means that you have become that spiritual guidance through the Pitris. You know, you have to earn it even when you die. In the Vedas, the sacred scriptures of ancient India, the fathers were considered to be immortal, like the gods, and to share in the sacrifice, though they received different offerings. The way of the fathers, which leads to rebirth, which is samsara, and is characterized by observance of the traditional duties of sacrifice, charity, and the practice of austerities, came to be distinguished from the way of the gods, which was a way of faith directed towards the goal of liberation, or moksha, from rebirth, as we see. So the Pitris are not just, somebody die and you become the guiding spiritual light. No, that's not how it works. The Pitris also have their duty or their dharma to perform, and when we are located in this through our planets of birth, we need to understand that the Pitris are our spiritual guidance in Vedic astrology. The padas of the Magha Nakshatra start off with Aries and ends with Cancer. So that in Aries, dharma, the ethical basis in which you live your life, you are quite creative and you take the initiative, because Aries is that gung-ho kind of zodiac sign. And we go through with the Earth, Taurus, which is the second pada, and this is the foundation for dharma and karma. Without prosperity and security in society or at the individual level, your moral life and your sensual behavior or sensuality becomes difficult. so that it is important that artha, as worldly success, does not violate the dharma, your moral responsibility, and your journey towards moksha, your spiritual liberation. And then we move on to karma, which is the Gemini pada, and moksha, which is the Cancer pada, so that this is how we delve deeply into your birth chart, into your kundali, so that we can get an idea of why you differ from your twin, why you differ from your brother, why you differ from your sister, or even your ancestors. This is a summary of the padas of the Magha Nakshatra, and we just said pada 1 is in Aries, a pada, and the first pada falls in that Navamsh, and it's obviously ruled by Mars, so that it focuses on willpower. And here the throne is secured after slaying of the multi-headed serpent in the Ashlesha Nakshatra. And the Ashlesha Nakshatra is that nakshatra that was previous to the Magha Nakshatra, so that this is where we come from. We join from one to the next, and that Ashlesha Nakshatra falls in Cancer, and Cancer, remember, is the water sign, and we take water to Leo, to fire, and which is the Gandanta point, that knot that we have to unravel, so that there are a lot of things happening in the Magha Nakshatra in the first pada. And the second pada, which is in Taurus Navamsh, is ruled by Venus, and this pada is focused on the king's ascension to the throne. The emphasis here is on duty, materialistic organization, and creating a good image, because remember, Taurus, the natural second house, is all about resources. So we have the king now, where we had the willpower, where we secure the throne, and now in the second pada we are looking at the resources, so that the material wealth of the king can be certified, can be given a proper foundation. Then we move on to the third pada, which is the Gemini Navamsh, and this would be ruled by Mercury. And the focus here is on the pursuit of art, and listening to the discourses of scholar. Knowledge and mental activities are paramount here, because Mercury is all about knowledge. Mercury is all about communication. So now that the king is on his throne and has seen about his resources, we are looking to understand the people, we are looking to understand the community, we are looking to understand those around us by gaining knowledge and activating our mental acuity to understand what we have to do now, that we are the leader, that we are the king, and that we have resources. Is it that we are going to hoard those resources, or are we going to share? It all depends on planetary placement and bhava. And then we reach to the moksha pada of the Magha Nakshatra, which is in the Cancer Navamsh, and this is ruled by the moon. So Magha's liking for rituals, ancestor worship, and family pride will be the focus here, because you want to gain moksha, you want to gain liberation from rebirth, you don't want samsara, so that at the end of the day, the fourth pada is all about that liberation. And this is how we can give you that insight, that further delve into your psyche, into you as a person and your potential, and where would be the right fit for you in this janam. These are some of the characteristics of the Leo zodiac sign, and it's a summary. We've just gone through the Gandanta point in Leo, which is the padas in Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer. And there we have the Lord of the padas, which I associated with Mars, Venus, Mercury, and Moon, and the keywords fortitude, ambition, knowledge, ritual in the four padas. And then when you look at the planets associated in this Leo zodiac sign, you have commander, protector, technical skills. So some of these are the things that we expect from a Leo native, or somebody who is born in Leo. And the positive traits of Leo are kind and helpful, energetic, optimistic, straightforward, and loyal. The negative traits can be headstrong, egotistic, possessive, dominating, impatient, and or arrogant. So that we see that Leo is a really strong nakshatra, a strong zodiac sign, a strong Rashi, and that we have a lot of emotions and a lot of uh, skills that are associated with this through this synopsis that I've put through here. And if your Lagna or ascendant resides here, the ninth lord is Bhadak. The ninth lord creates obstacles for you, so that we learn a lot from Vedic astrology, and the potential is just great. This is a brief summary or synopsis of the Ketu characteristics in Leo. And why Ketu? Ketu is the ruler of Magha Nakshatra, and Ketu takes away what Rahu gives. Ketu is where, in terms of life circumstances, we will find that everything will dissolve. This experience can terrify us, but Ketu dissolves that which needs to die in terms of our need to be reborn and go forward to meet our spiritual destiny. Ketu is our past life, the opposite of Rahu, which is the area we are driving towards. Because Ketu, remember, too, is illusionary, and Ketu is in the now. Ketu is the occupying army, while Rahu is the advancing army, which is why when I talk about Ketu, I'll always say been there, done that. The word Ketu represents the occupying army's flag flying over the area of life we previously conquered. And the ruling planet of Leo, which I've indicated to you before, is Sun, which is a staunch enemy of Ketu. Because remember, Rahu and Ketu are the only planets or grahas that can eclipse the sun and the moon. So when Ketu is referred to in the fiery sign of Leo, it makes the person impulsive because of a confusion and impulse imposed by Ketu. The person often gets angry without any reason or due to misunderstandings. Communication is key, but it's kind of lost because Ketu has the attitude that, I don't want to hear. I've gone there already. I've spoken to you about it already. Why are you still dealing with an issue that was discussed umpteenth times? That's the attitude he has. And therefore Ketu in Leo gives a confusing personality. And such persons, they're very uncertain before adventuring or venturing into anything new. They're not very decisive, and there's a lack of confidence. They tend to have a lot of questions, and they second guess themselves. They have doubts in their minds about everything. The natives develop a fear of poisons and snakes, and because we have just come from the Ashlesha Nakshatra, which is the deity, the Sarpas and the Nagas, we are coming into the Gandanta point, which is Magha, so that we have a lot of things on our minds. But the positives in that is Ketu in Magha. You can have a multilingual benefit. You can just be like a duck to water, as we say, and you can be very talkative, but you still want to be isolated, because Ketu is all about isolation. You are also artistic in nature. You like the beauty of art and natural beautiful things, nature. And at the end of the day, because of Magha and Leo and that throne room, that authority and that leadership, you can be very successful in politics, and you are self-dependent, and you have strong management and administrative skills. So these are some of the characteristics in Leo that Ketu brings to us, so that we can thrive in that throne room, because we have the skills to manage that throne room. And so let us manage that throne room to the best of our ability in a very spiritual way. This is Magha Nakshatra, the star of power, in all its themes and characteristics that are associated with it, that we use to analyze your birth chart. And Magha is also considered the birth star of Venus. And the padas here, as we went through, are from Aries to Cancer. The crystal here is the citrine, and the tarot is strength and the Queen of Wands. And strength, you see that lady there in the picture holding a lion's mouth open without fear, so that it's a positive thing in that you can go into danger and you have that authority, you have the resources, you have the leadership in which to put your hand in the lion's mouth. We went through the planet Ketu and its characteristics just now, and the deity, the Pitris, the symbol, the throne, and the Trimurti energy here is Lord Brahma to create. But something must die before you create something new. So this is what ancestors is all about. And the Purushartha here is Artha, so that your goal for Magha Nakshatra is resources, is Artha, is wealth, is assets. That's what you want to look at. But it's a very ugly nakshatra. It's Ugra, and it's Adhomukha, which is downward looking, so that you deal with anything in like deep wells and mining and that kind of thing. And the color here is ivory cream, so that we look at all of these characteristics for the star of power for Magha, and we work with it to analyze your birth chart. We work with it to analyze your whole kundali and the grahas placement, as to how we put grahas and how we place grahas and what they mean for you when they are posited in your kundali in Magha Nakshatra in the zodiac sign of Leo. Matsya is the Vishnu avatar associated with Ketu, and in Hindu astrology, Ketu represents karmic collections, both good and bad, spirituality and supernatural influences. Ketu signifies the spiritual process of the refinement of the materialism to spirit, and is considered both malefic and benefic, as it causes sorrow and loss. And in other words, it causes material loss to force a more spiritual outlook in the person. And Matsya is said to have been the first avatar of Lord Vishnu, and who would have forewarned man about the coming flood and ordered him to preserve all the grains and living creatures in a boat. And this story is similar to many other myths found in other cultures, and in the Christian culture, it's similar to Noah's Ark. So that Matsya and the Vedic astrology and Hindu religion is not something in a void. As I always say, we have to live with one another. And stories are, is it the beginning, is it the end, it is a continuation. And where did it start? Who was the first? We don't know, we weren't there. So our belief and our faith is what we delve into in our religious pursuits. And the people who come under the influence of Ketu can achieve great heights, most of them spiritual. And this is where, we have to believe. Ketu is considered responsible for moksha, or self-realization, or ganya, a wavering nature, restlessness. And he's also the karaka of or indicator of intelligence, wisdom, non-attachment, fantasy, psychic abilities. Ketu is believed to bring prosperity to the devotee's family and removes the effect of snake bites and illness arising out of poisons. And he grants good health, wealth, and cattle, and that cattle is a synonym of wealth, because in olden days, when you were a sheep herder or a cattle herder, you were considered wealthy or somebody good in society. So this is what we look at when we look at Vishnu avatar, Matsya, and Ketu in the Magha Nakshatra. With Bhagwan's blessings, I have brought you through another learning experience of Vedic astrology and a little knowledge that was allowed for me to give to you. So that I thank you for your interest. I thank you for clicking on that button to look at this video. I ask that you sign up, you share, you subscribe. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for taking it to the end, and I will see you next time. Bye.